If I were to make a tier list for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Wave 5 DLC, how would that tier list look? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. The ultimate tier list for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Wave 5. Let me make this clear, I'm not going in any particular order with the track ranking. So specifically, if two tracks are an S rank per se, those tracks would, well, there wouldn't be any priorities, they're just an S rank. Because I do not want to think about ranking them in, best to worst order. That sounds like pain. But anyways, we are here to talk about the first track, Athens Dash. And Athens Dash, well, I mean, it's a track. I think for a city track, actually, this track's pretty good for a city track, if I'm being honest. I like the uniqueness of the feel of it. Usually city tracks all kind of blend in for me, but this one is kind of unique, if I'm being honest. This is really, in all due respect, no cars, which is kind of a big thing for a city track, which, yeah, there are a few city tracks in the game that have like no really road car lol, but I don't think this track has much road at all, like the average everyday road you would think about, which in my opinion is a good thing. It makes it stand out. There isn't like the just road with like lines in the middle or a line in the middle on some tracks. This track, well, it's road, but dirt road. It's unique. I like it. It's fun to play. Visually in the base game, we're not talking about my retextures, it's pretty good for what it's worth. And yeah, I'm gonna give this track an A rank. Alrighty, Daisy Cruiser. While I thought this one was really good at first, I'm gonna be honest, it hasn't gone down in ranking for me at all. But the part that makes it kind of, not as great as I thought it was, is just every other track I kind of got more used to and liked more. And this track, I'll admit, I don't like much more. That's what I mean. I don't like it much more than I did when I first saw it, which isn't a bad thing. I liked this track when I first played it. I just wish I could like it more now that I'm getting used to it. And honestly, it's fine. It's good visually, though. I think the base game has a little too saturated and bright for my taste. But I mean, hey, I like how this looks. It kind of fits the cartoony tour assets, which makes sense. This track, I don't know, this is a track where I feel like it thrives over the cartoony like assets, which isn't a lot of tracks, but this track I feel like just fits that theme. And honestly, seeing it like in the style of like, let's say Yoshi's Circuit or some other GCN track from the base game, I don't know, I don't think it would look as good. If I had to give this track a rank, I would go and give it a B rank. I'd say it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. Moonview Highway, I'm gonna be real, probably my least favorite track of Wave 5, besides one track, which is obvious. But I don't think this track is good. I don't think it's great, I should say. I think it's fine. I mean, it does the job of Moonview Highway. I don't know, I just feel like its gameplay is kind of not as well as Mario Kart Wii's. Like, don't get me wrong, I thought it was not the greatest in Mario Kart Wii either, but I don't know. I guess the physics fit kind of make it easier and there's less cars, but that's what made Moonview fun for me. Like, at least it was crazy because of the cars. Now it's just like very few cars, which honestly, I'm not a big fan of city tracks in the DLC in the first place because, well, we already have the real life city tracks, but it's not a big deal. My biggest gripe with this track is, well, the fact that it's been nerfed since the Wii version and kind of dark in the original. Like, you can barely see some stuff, I feel, in the background, which, I mean, background is kind of what makes Mario Kart tracks like visually pleasing to look at, especially in the DLC with tracks like Toad Circuit. But hey, if I had to give this one a rank, I would say this would be the C rank of the Wave. Maybe not the only one, but definitely not a great track. It's fine, but it's just okay. Okay, now we have probably my favorite track of Wave 5, Squeaky Clean Sprint. This track, I never thought I'd say this, the bathroom track is actually fun. Yeah, that's right, the track that was known as the bathroom track, which I'm always going to keep referring it to, is actually a fun track, and it's unique. It's kind of like a big house track, and really cannot complain about big houses around here, It's just surprising to me that like the one track that I was not too fond of for like, just being an original track at first, ended up being one of my favorite tracks of the entire DLC as of right now. Honestly, I'm gonna say it, this track, before we even talk about more, this is an S rank track. No questions. I think the gameplay is really good, and I like how they use all the assets to actually feel like you're in the bathroom, Like, they could have just had you drive on the toilet and look like Baby Park, that would have been really funny, actually. They could have had a Baby Park toilet track, but No, what they did was far better than what I would have expected. I would have, yeah, again, I would have expected you just driving on the toilet around or something. Not this uniqueness, not this much love and care put into it. And of course, visually, it's pretty good visually. I would say this is more of a base game looking track than DLC. Like, it's still with the DLC isms, but hey, this looks a lot better than anyone probably expected it to. Also, the fact that we have multiple paths down here is just incredible as well. Easy S rank track. Probably my least favorite track of the city Traxxas wave, Los Angeles laps, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I actually quite like it. I'm gonna say it right now before I say anything else. This track is a B tier track, but that's better than like Moonview Highway, so we're making great progress here. In my opinion, this track is definitely a higher tier DLC track this wave, or higher tier city track, sorry. It's not quite that good, but it's good, okay? It's a good track. And I really like how, unlike every other city track, this one is a one lap section track. We don't see many of those that often. We see usually like one lap, maybe 2 laps are the same, and then we go through the entrance every time. But here, once you hit the starting line, you have one full lap of driving. Yes, you do go over some parts twice, but I mean overall, like this part right here, you drive on this part twice, and lap 3 you'd go right, but lap 1 we're going left, obviously. It's just really cool. This feels like an actual like track, and not just like, you know, a couple paths compiled together for some reason, which honestly, I'm digging this. This is a really good track, and I'm really happy with what they did with it. And yeah, even the boost there, like gliding, this neat shortcuts. Again, not my favorite city track here, and my fact is my least favorite, so you know, there's that. But Los Angeles laps, we got more America representation, gamers. This is definitely a really sick track. Actually, we have 2 North American tracks in this way. Alright, going to point this out right now before I forget. We're going to be ignoring the entire sunset gimmick that I've added, but we will not be ignoring it for the actual DLC review. I'm just saying I have a modded sunset gimmick, so with that out of the way, this is Sunset Routes, and by God, it is the worst track of Wave 5. Probably the worst track in the last 3 waves as well. I don't like this track, if I'm being honest. Like, it's fine on 200, I guess, but the point of this track is to have the sunset gimmick, and that is just plain and simply not there. Nintendo, they could have modified the system to maybe add it, but they didn't, and it would have been like, okay, if it didn't have it in Tour, okay, who would have been surprised? But that's the problem. They had the sunset gimmick in Mario Kart Tour. This has no sunset gimmick, and it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that is arguably older and better in the Mario Kart Tour visually, and yet they ignored it, which they could have done some simple like lighting stuff. Boom. Could have been possible, you'd think. But I mean, look, even right here, I managed to kind of do it. I didn't edit the lighting at all, but I don't think Nintendo had to. They could have just done a color animation on everything, kind of like what I did, and it would have been tolerable. Like, obviously this isn't perfect, but that's the thing with this track. This track really struggles with just, you know, having no really reason to be here. And in my opinion, every track needs a reason to be there. This track, I would have rather had Yoshi Desert, because that's a lot more fun and just a lot more unique. And I'm gonna give this track the first F rank. Alrighty, the second to last track, Koopa Cape. This one might be one of my favorite tracks of the wave, especially the favorite retro track of the wave that came back. And honestly, you can probably see it's Koopa Cape. I mean, come on. And I'm gonna be real when I say I like this more than the Wii rendition. Yes, I said it. This is better than Mario Kart Wii's rendition, in my opinion. That's, I don't know, that's crazy, but it was a bit jank in Mario Kart Wii, but I liked it. This is probably my favorite version of the track, which is saying a lot here, because this track is kind of, well, what's the word? Mid. Nah, I'm kidding. This track is really, really good. I just needed a joke thrown in there, but it's fine. So this track is good. I like this track. Basically, I think it's more fun on 150, but it's still really fun and chaotic on 200. I visually, probably one of the weakest of the wave visually, but in like the gameplay, this track's really strong, I'd personally say. Yeah, I mean, like, it's actually a very fun gameplay track. Visually, it's definitely not that good visually. I am so sorry, John Nintendo, but this track, it feels like a mix of like Tour and 8 Deluxe assets, which is very strange. I mean, you gotta kind of be consistent, but it looks better than Toad Circuit, so I guess I'll give you that. But overall ranking, this track, I would go ahead and say it is probably my S rank track of this, well, retro stuff. S rank track, yeah, I'm gonna say it. It's a S, yeah. The retro tracks, honestly, this wave, they were fine. They weren't that good though, but this track really is a great track. So S rank for Koopa Cape. And the last track of Wave 5, Vancouver Velocity, easily the best city track here. No questions asked. The best city track in the wave, and honestly one of the best city tracks in the game right now, in my opinion. I love this track. Definitely a top tier city track. And I'm gonna say it right now as well, S rank right out of the board. This track has fun visuals, fun gameplay, and unique elements to it that makes it feel different from the city tracks that even were before that were already quite different. I'm gonna say for the S rank tracks though, that as of this track, it's probably the lowest S rank track, but it is still really good. It has a unique park section, and we don't really get many winter city tracks, but even though this one isn't strictly winter, it still has the winter portion. And I mean, the ice arena, just, I love this, the kind of the sportsy aspect of this. Obviously, you know, LA Labs had the baseball stadium, Dodger Stadium, but this is just, I like this more. I'm sorry. The nighttime theme also is really cool. I just think this is one of the best city tracks in the game, which is really cool because honestly, before Wave like 4, I wasn't a big fan of the city tracks, but I'm starting to get more and more into the city tracks, and I'm gonna say right now, this is an S rank, but still not as good as Koopa Cape or Squeaky Clean Sprint especially. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. We are done ranking the tracks, so if you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and join my Discord if you haven't already. And be sure to see you guys next time for some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Boosted Course Pass content. Peace out, gamers.